bless you.
Thank you.
Check it to see if Tim Wilson did or not.
I'm pretty sure he did. Keeping it classy.
Okay, call this meeting of the Fremont County Board of Commissioners to order. If you would please stand and join us for invocation by Todd Luce from the Grandview Christian Church, followed by the pledge. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Would you bow with me, please? Gracious Lord, I come before you today and I ask a blessing upon this meeting and upon each of the commissioners that you just help them make the right decisions and smart decisions for our county, and that our county might grow and prosper under their guidance, Lord. We pray this in your Son's name. Amen.
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 I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Todd. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner Payne.
Present.
County Attorney Jackson.
Present.
County Manager Bryant.
Present.
Planning and Zoning Director Garrett.
Present.
Okay, next thing, approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I don't think we have any changes we need to make today, so I move to approve today's agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
On to the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I will second that with the notation that we are not scheduling a public hearing out in the future on today's consent agenda. We like to mention those when we are, so I also will mention it when we're not.
Sounds good. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, on to administrative and informational. First, we have the county clerk's monthly report. Mr. Grantham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Total motor vehicle fees, sales tax, and recording fees collected for March 2019 are $1,218,175.32. Fremont County's portion for disbursement is $725,784.65, which is 60% of the total fees and is $57,931.77 more than March of last year. And year-to-date, our office is down $49,079.70 from last year.
But given the fact we're up from March of 2018, maybe we're headed back in the right direction again.
Absolutely, and we're starting our busy season in motor vehicles, so it should look pretty promising.
All right, perfect. Mr. Chair, I move to accept the county clerk's monthly report.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept county clerk's monthly report. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, sir. Next, move on to the county manager report. Ms. Sunny Bryant.
So just a couple of updates and notes. So we had our construction kickoff meeting for the Hayden Pass Emergency Watershed Protection Project on on April 1st. And so the contractor has mobilized. They're getting the construction of that underway, and the deadline for that construction is May 20th. The commissioners and I attended the Boys and Girls Club breakfast last Thursday morning, so it was always a great event and to hear what they have going on for the upcoming year. On Thursday the 4th, Public Health had an open house. Emma Davis and her crew did a fantastic job of getting information out, letting the public know what all they have to offer over at Public Health. The commissioners and I met with members of the city councils from Canyon City and Florence yesterday, so it's always good to work with those groups on projects and see what they have going on over in their municipalities. And then just a quick update, so we did receive the Department of Local Affairs grant for the courthouse project. So we're working towards renovating space in the second floor of the courthouse. And so we were awarded the DOLA grant, and we also have an underfunded courthouse grant. So we have about $400,000 of grant funds to be able to do this project. So we'll be working on that over the next few months and hopefully get construction underway. And we're doing our final year-end audit next week, so our department has been trying to get everything pulled together and ready for that as well. So.
Very good, thank you.
There's a lot happening.
A lot of stuff going on. Okay. Anybody else have anything?
Sales and use tax.
Do this. Sorry,
Oh, I'm
I'll
sorry.
move
Yeah,
into
sales
this.
and use tax.
Yep,
Usually
sorry,
just
I
goes
gave
right
a little
into it, so-
pause and I was getting my computer here. So for the sales and use tax collections through February of 2019, so in the month of February, we received $354,110, which is up $29,363 from last year. Year to date, we're up $56,436. And I always note, so at the beginning of the year, we compare it to budget as well, so we always look like we're down in comparison to budget, but the first few months of the year tend to be our slower months, and so the comparison to budget of being down $110,000, we're not worried at this point, because as the summer months pick up, those collections will come in where we anticipate. And so the auto use tax, as Clerk Grantham indicated, we are down slightly with those numbers. So we collected $84,154 in that fund, or I'm sorry, in that account. Year to date, we're down $59,100. The construction use tax came in at $4,271, and year to date, we're down $2,928. The lodging tax for the month of February came in at $366. So year to date, we're up $2,750. And then in the Sheriff's Department, 1% sales tax. So in the month of February, we collected $236,073, which is up $19,575 from February of last year. And year to date, we're up $37,624. And then on the auto use tax side, we collected $56,103, which is down $10,998. Year to date, we're down $39,400. And then the construction use tax for the sheriff, we collected $2,847, which is down $1,952 year to date from last year. So overall, everything is doing okay. We did budget fairly conservative, and so I'm not too worried about some of those numbers being down. Last year was a very good year for some of those numbers, and so we didn't budget really high increases, just making sure that we were being conservative moving forward. So we'll keep an eye on everything as we go.
All right.
Very good, thank you. Okay. Anyone else have anything?
Of
Yes,
course.
of
Yes. I have many things this morning, Mr. Chair, but they all relate to the same thing. So it's springtime, and that means it is time to clean up. If you don't have spring fever yet, well, get it going, because we have a lot of opportunities for you to clean up some things around your home. So the Fremont County actually gave away 300 trash vouchers already that are good for a free load of trash to Twin Enviro landfill. The city of Florence also is in the process of giving away, or already has, I'm not sure if they're all gone, 335 of those. Next week is Florence Cleanup Week, so if you happen to live in Florence, make sure that you participate in that. Also, a really big thing for many, many county folks, as well as Fremont County, because it keeps trash out of our roadways, out of the gutters and everything else. Wholesome and GeoCycle Tire Day has been scheduled this year for Saturday, April 27th. It's from 8 a.m. to noon at the Plant Park out on Highway 120. I thought this was really interesting. This event started in 2005, has happened every year since then. Wholesome has collected and recycled more than 35,000 tires from Fremont County residents. That means 35,000 tires that are no longer buried in dirt or in someone's land or in a borrow ditch by the side of a county road. So if you hope to participate in Tire Day, please remember it is open to all Fremont County residents. You must have photo ID with you. There is a limit of 20 tires per resident. Only clean passenger tires, no rims are allowed, no tractor, loader, or semi-truck tires are accepted. Tires can only be dropped off at that particular location at that particular time. And also, Mr. Chair, I apologize if you were going to mention this, but the electronics recycling event is going to be happening in Florence on Saturday, April 20th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is, again, open to all Fremont County residents, sponsored by the Upper Arkansas Area Council of Governments, the City of Florence, Florence Grassroots Cleanup, and Fremont County. And the acceptable items there are TVs, monitors, printers, microwaves, computers, anything else that is run through electronics. And there are vastly, greatly reduced fees for recycling at that time.
I think you said Florence gave out 335.
If I said
vouchers.
Florence,
That
it was Canyon City. It was Canyon
And
City. If I
Florence
said
has a
Florence, I do
Clean
apologize.
Week coming up, yeah. So just for
Cleanup week is
clarification.
next week for Florence. Yes, Canyon City gave away 335 trash vouchers.
And along with that electronics deal, there will be an event in Canyon City in a couple months, and then we'll have another one out on the west end of the county, and then she's planning on another one right after Christmas like we had last year to take care of those TVs and stuff where people got new ones for Thanksgiving or Black Friday or Christmas or whatever. Keep those out of the ditches, so hopefully that'll help. You have anything, sir?
No, sir.
One other thing I would like to mention is it is warming up, more people are out and about. The Arkansas Valley snowpack is around 130, 140%, which is great. Although down in the lower parts, there's not any snow and it's still really, really dry. So be very careful out there. We don't want any more fires. If you've noticed, there's a few popping up around the state, some out east, some up north. There's still a lot of very dry wood and trees and grass out there. So just everyone be careful so that we don't have any big wildfires or small wildfires, any fires.
We just had a fire pop up over the weekend
We did,
off of
actually.
Highway 115, so that's hitting a little too close to home.
And then we actually had a small one up on Garden Park Road yesterday. It was a rekindle of a control burn, but they got it out quickly. So just everybody be mindful when you're out and about, and if you see anything, make sure and report it so that they can get on it quick, and appreciate everybody's effort on that. Anybody else have anything? Okay, so we will move on to old business, which we do not
Citizens.
have any.
Citizens.
Are there any citizens who wish to address the commissioners? Don't have any slips, but you have anything that's not on the agenda? Okay, so we'll move on to new business. The first item is the Heritage Commission report. We have Miss Betsy Denny here to talk to us about that. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
morning.
morning.
Sounds like you guys are having fun. Springtime.
It is springtime.
Twice a year, the Heritage Commission tries to come and kind of fill you in on what we've been doing, and so this is that time. This last year, we did another self-guided tour book, heritage guide book, and it was called Rocks and Fossils. And that has been probably our fastest seller that quick. Little do I know. I don't know one rock from the other, but with the help of Crossroads Through Time, Stones and Bones, we managed to get that going. The Tourism Council gave us a grant for that, so that's going really, really well. All of our other booklets are on sale throughout the county, and they've been downloaded off of our website. So our website is up and running. We had a little bit of problems this last year, but we think we've got that under control, and hopefully that'll be good. That seems to be growing an awful lot. We keep getting more and more hits with our website, and what that does is kind of tell us about Fremont County, the history. It seems to be bringing more and more people here, more and more inquiries about different things. So as those come through, we kind of answer those among the commission, depending on which area that they're asking questions about. you'd be surprised at some of the questions we've gotten through the website and that kind of stuff. So that's been our kind of shine there for us. Another thing that we've done, we've continued with the Fall Heritage Days, which has extended the tourism time here in Fremont County. They come to a lot of the things in the fall that is advertised on our website. So I think we're getting a few people from out of county to come and look at these, some of the activities that we have. We also continued with our landmark site designation, and since my last report, we have done 3. We finally got one out at Rockville, the May Cabin, which was a landmark designation. We also got the Lakeside Cemetery here in Canyon City, and our most recent was the Howard Cemetery up there at Howard. So we're going pretty strong. I think we've got 6 or 7 sites in West Fremont County. So we're doing pretty good up there. With that being said, we had to order new plaques for the landmark designation. So those should be coming here very shortly. We're down to 1 from our previous orders. So that's kind of fun. We also kind of picked up the ball on the display case up here in the lobby. And so we kind of have a schedule of some of the things that are coming through. Right now, the Prism Museum is there. We had one on the quarries of eastern Fremont County. The next one will come from the Royal Gorge Museum. And then after that, the Florence Archives. So we've kind of got a schedule, so that'll be replaced so it's not the same thing over and over and over again. We also, several of us spent a couple of months working on the certified local government, fine-tuning a resolution for that. It's before you guys right now. I'm hoping that we can kind of get something going with that. We only see positive with that CLG for the county. I know that Florence and Canyon City are working on theirs, but this will incorporate some of the smaller towns along with the unincorporated parts of the county. So we'll keep hounding you on that. And as usual, I'd like to thank the commission. They work hard. There's 9 of us. They attend the meetings. We get a lot done. Our main goal is to educate the county, the state, wherever we can, on our rich heritage and our history of Fremont County. So I thank you.
So thank you. What will you tell everybody what the website is? What's the address for the website?
It's FremontHeritage.com.
It's FremontHeritage.com?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to think a minute then. Think which one I was working on, but yes. And there is a link from the county website to the Heritage website also. So they can go either place.
It is. It's on the bottom of our front page, I believe.
Yeah, it is. So.
And I would just like to mention, I see people all the time looking at those display cases upstairs. The things that you've done with them, the different displays, people come in, I think specifically to look at those, and then they turn around and leave. That's their entire purpose for coming to this building.
Good.
So I just wanted to let you know that you're doing a really, really great job with that. And as well, Betsy, also, I love those heritage landmark designations. I hope you have more in the works because there are so many places here in Fremont County that are absolutely worthy of that designation.
And just an FYI, all 3 of these designations had kind of a photo op time for that. So the most recent one was up at Howard this last weekend, and so we'll be getting that out and about and getting it on the website. So that's what we really like. We like to get those applications. It's so much fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I attend your monthly meetings, of course, and you are an enthusiastic group, and you guys get a lot done. I appreciate your efforts.
All righty.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Okay. The next item on the agenda is a Florence Clinic lease agreement. And we have Ms. Amadeus here. She's our Fremont County Public Health and Environment Director. Good morning.
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 Morning, Emma.
Okay, so just a little background on the Florence Clinic lease agreement. We've been in discussions with the Florence City Council and our Board of Health of how we could address the low immunization rates in Florence. So the City Council, Wade, he came up, he's the Florence City Planner, he asked if we would be interested in using this space that they have available. A couple years ago, Public Health in Fremont County renovated it to have a full-time clinic, but we didn't have the volume, we didn't have the personnel to go there, so it never opened. So after discussions and going through the contract and having Brenda Jackson review it and our Board of Health review it, we came up with a lease agreement to where Fremont County Public Health would use a space to provide a clinic in Florence on a Friday. The initial plan is to start with one Friday a month and then see how it grows from there. Everything will still be at our central location that's right across the street at the Garden Park, so calling the same phone number to schedule appointments. Our vaccines will still be brought. So this will be similar to a travel clinic. So it won't be a new clinic site. It'll be similar to a travel clinic. So it's basically getting approval so that we can do the lease. The lease agreement is basically covering the cost of utilities during that one day that we are using the space.
Okay. You guys have any questions?
Do you have an actual start date? I know you had said one Friday a month. I'm just curious to know if you have that first Friday in mind.
So if it's approved, we're going to go for this first April 26th. So in a couple weeks. We have advertising, everything ready to get pushed out. We're just waiting for the okay.
And do you have hours that you have planned?
We don't have hours planned. It'll be by appointment only, so we're going to try to fill those morning slots first and then go from there.
All right.
Okay. Good. Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the lease agreement for the Florence Clinic. What else do we need on that?
I would just add with the City of Florence.
With the City of Florence, okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Florence Clinic lease agreement with the City of Florence. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank
Thank
you, Emma.
you.
Good luck. I think that'd be a great
Thank you.
addition over there.
I agree. Thanks for taking care of those folks in Florence with this plan.
Okay, there is no other business on the table till the 10 o'clock public hearings. So we're going to have to take a little bit of a recess here. I will add, before we do that if anybody does want to speak during the public hearings, to fill out one of the forms. There's some at the door, there's some on the podium, and get those up to us. And until then, we'll take a short recess till 10 o'clock.
You know, I never looked at the clock till just now.
If Tim was our chairman, we would have been
I don't know. Halfway through.
we'd still be sitting. 9:33.
So, we, yes, we received a grant. Yeah, we received a grant to actually start the design. I want to go this way. This way.
And suddenly it's quiet.
I know. It's funny. Okay, I call this meeting back to order. It is 10 o'clock. So now we have two public hearings scheduled. The first one is for amendments on the on-site water waste treatment system regulations. And the proposed revisions are to allow and regulate the use of composting and incinerating toilets. Wyatt from our building department here.
Good morning, Wyatt.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Wyatt.
sir.
How are we?
Well, how are you?
The revision is to adopt composting and incinerating toilets, and they were taken out of the regulations 4.5 years ago due to the conflict of individuals not understanding you still need a septic system. So we've had several inquiries. So we're with the Board of Health approval and a permit to install incinerative or composting toilets. The revision was brought forth, and that's why we are here today.
So, as you said, we'd had some requests also come through us, and I just want to clarify again that even with a composting toilet, you still have to have a septic tank. And we don't want that to be a misleader.
Gray water discharge to the surface of the ground in the state of Colorado is illegal. Okay, so that still requires a on-site wastewater treatment system to treat the gray water to standards, and you cannot discharge anything to the surface of the ground. So it still will require it. Any composting or incinerating toilet has to be NSF approved. It has to be installed per manufacturer's recommendations. A composting toilet will only operate between 68 and 113 degrees. So any building will have to be heated in order for that to work.
Interesting. Never thought about the temperatures.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So
And did I understand you correctly that it would require a permit to be able
it
to
would
install one
require
of
a
these?
permit and the approval from a Board of Health. I do believe the regulations did state.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other questions of him? No. With this?
Not yet.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing. If there's anybody who wishes to make any comments on this or anything, now is the time. Now I don't have anybody that wants to speak on this.
Don't run.
Okay, last chance. Sir, you want to come up here and fill out a sheet and then ask your question, or ask your question, then you can fill out the sheet.
I'm just curious what the impact is to current users on the regulations.
None, because there hasn't been any.
No, if they institute regulations, would there be any impact to current users of the
There shouldn't be
composting
any
waste
current
toilets?
users of composting toilets because it has never been in the regulations.
Okay, but I
Or,
mean,
as
if someone
you
is
said-
currently using them right now on their property, would it affect them?
They're illegal.
They're illegal. Okay,
Yeah,
cheers.
so yes. Okay, anyone else? All right, I will close this public hearing. I barely hit that on opportunity. Remember, right?
Thank you.
Well, you wake people up that way.
Okay, so you guys have any other questions or?
No.
No questions, but I do have a motion for you, Mr.
Okay.
Chair, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
I move to approve the on-site wastewater treatment system regulations as described to allow and regulate the use of composting and incinerating toilets. This will be by resolution number 16.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the amendment to the on-site wastewater treatment system regulations to allow composting and incinerating toilets, resolution number 16. Is there any other discussion? Just, I guess reiterate again, it still does take a permit. Follows all the other, I can't speak for some reason, other regulations. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Wyatt.
Thanks for all your work on this, Wyatt.
Effective June 1st.
It should be on the bottom.
Yes, the first day of June.
All
Okay.
right.
This will become effective first day
Noted.
of June.
Thank you.
sir.
Thanks for all your work on this.
Right, the second item under public hearing is amendments to the Fremont County zoning resolution. There's three different ones. A is lowering the minimum dwelling size. B is reducing the number of initial applications. And C is changing the requirements regarding hearings. First of all, I'll ask for a staff report, please. Sean.
Okay, so the first one is lowering the minimum dwelling size, which is currently 750 square feet, to 400 square feet, and eliminating the minimum 24 feet width.
This came about because of tiny homes.
Tiny home discussion, and then quite a few individuals coming in wanting smaller houses, more along the 400, 500 square foot range.
Okay.
And then I understand that you came up with the 400 square feet because of lenders and different things. That's what they will lend down to, I guess, is 400 square feet and bigger and higher.
Yes, I've talked with a couple, one of the lenders locally, and he double-checked with, for Federal Housing Administration, FHA, USDA, conventional, and all of them can loan on that size of a dwelling.
Okay.
And then to differentiate it because of the tiny homes, but these are still stick-built homes, not tiny homes on trailers.
Yes, these would be stick-built homes or modulars.
Okay.
So Brenda, do we need to approve these amendments one at a time, or?
No, it's all one.
It's all one thing? Okay. All right, Sean, so the second one, B?
So the second one is under section 8.3, application submissions for zone change classifications, conditional use permits, special review use permits, and commercial development plans. When the regs were written in 95, hard copies went to everybody, and so we required numerous copies be submitted with the original application. Now that we're doing things electronically, those are just getting set aside and then to the recycle bin and are unnecessary. It's costing applicants time and money. So we're just going to reduce that down to one original and then one electronic copy.
I'm in favor of saving trees, so I'm really
Yeah.
happy about this.
Or money also.
Yes.
It saves a lot of money.
Well, that too. Come on. Saving trees saves money.
Yeah, that's great. Great one. Okay, and then C.
Okay, so the third one would be changing the requirement where if they are making application for renewal of a CUP and that there's no evidence of noncompliance, the conditions of the original permit exist, there's no modifications or changes being proposed, the board at its discretion may, but is not required to schedule a public hearing. For a lot of these renewals, we get a simple one-line letter requesting a 1 year or 3 year extension, whatever the case may be. There's not any modifications, there's not any proposed changes or anything that would affect the surrounding properties.
Simply an extension.
So it means nothing has changed from the original application itself. The status quo. They don't want to do anything new. They don't want to change anything at all.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions of Sean before we open the public hearing?
No.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing. I do have two. I'll remind you that if you do want to speak on this issue, please fill out one of the slips. The first one I have is Mr. Gary Peterson. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm here representing the Rural Gorge Preservation Project. It's a newly formed 501c3 nonprofit. I've got two of my stalwarts behind me here and board members. They're here not so much to support me as they are to make sure I stay on topic and don't get off in the
Stalwarts, I
wilderness with you.
like that. All right.
So I'm going to read what I have to say and then I'll be done. Specifically, conditional use permits are required for milling, mining, recycle facilities, sawmills, and transfer stations. These are land uses that tend to be controversial and unpopular because they can damage property values, diminish a community's quality of life, and cause harm to the environment. The consideration of these permits is the exact type of commission action that should invite public input, not limit it. Removing the requirement of a public hearing for a CUP renewals is in direct conflict with your all's position of being transparent to the citizens of Fremont County. Less public disclosure translates to less contact with the people who elected you. Public input simply facilitates democracy. Of the areas that require conditional use permits, which is the milling, mining, recycle facilities, sawmills, and transfer stations, mining is the obvious elephant in the room and deserves the utmost of public scrutiny because the environmental effects are going to last into perpetuity. This is no time for putting permitting for mining on autopilot. Circumstances can and often will change over the course of 10 years, reasonably suggesting that renewals, including extensions in excess for 1 year, deserve active public scrutiny. Those are my comments. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I appreciate your attention.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Gary.
Sit.
Yes, sir. Next, I have Steve Catterman. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I appreciate Mr. Peterson's comments. I agree with what he said. I see these three separate issues that are these changes, A, B, and C, as really having very distinct and separate impacts. A couple of them I would characterize as kind of housekeeping measures. C, I think, is way beyond a housekeeping measure because, in my experience as an elected county official, reducing, restricting, or limiting opportunity for public comments in local government, particularly at this level, is always a bad idea. And when it is challenged, it's often pretty indefensible. I think this decision, if it were to be approved, would be challenged, if not in court, certainly at the ballot box. And I don't think that's a good way to proceed either. I'd just like to give one example of an incident or situation that occurred recently where the lack of a public hearing created a problem and would in the future as well. In December, Zephyr came before this board for an extension of their conditional use permit, and it was kind of a sped up public hearing. There was not an opportunity for public comment. They made a presentation. They had a presenter here from Canada that spoke briefly, although there were no questions from the board. There were questions, however, that arose in the minds of citizens that were present for that hearing. Unfortunately, they were questions that were never addressed to the Board of County Commissioners. And so because the questions never got asked, they were never answered. Subsequently, there were questions that came up during that hearing that were put to Zephyr's representative locally here. The Environmental Alternatives, I believe, is the name of the organization. Angela Bellantoni is their representative. And she has failed to respond to specific questions that were raised during that meeting, I guess just because she chose to. So not only were citizens present for that public meeting denied the opportunity to ask questions that did arise were never addressed, and subsequently following the meeting, attempts to get those questions answered and to get more information, really just kind of elaborate on what was presented at this meeting, has fallen on deaf ears. So we're creating one problem on one hand and kind of making it worse on the other by not giving people the opportunity to ask questions and things. One of the things that I think, too, is going to change over a 10-year period of a conditional use permit is essentially time, if nothing else. There's a lot of time goes by in 10 years, and while there may not be substantial changes to the conditional use permit being requested, 10 years is a lot of time to let go by and then have an applicant come back to you requesting changes, or not changes, but they're requesting a renewal after 10 years and to say, oh yeah, nothing's happened in 10 years, check that box and we'll approve the extension. I think that's a huge misjudgment of public view, public sentiment, and a lot of other considerations that Mr. Peterson brought up that really need to be addressed. So I would urge you to leave the requirement for public hearings in the code wherever an extension, change, or modification to a conditional use permit is requested. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? Yes, ma'am. you can still come to the podium and speak, and then there's slips right there. We'll have you fill one of those out also.
Thank you. My name is Susan Vines. I want to thank you all, for you three, for serving as commissioners. I think it's a thankless job, and I appreciate the work you do. I really am an enthusiast of transparency, and I believe that if you stop public input, there would be problems starting at grass level. So I'm just begging you, I live over in the Riverside area, and I represent that community. I'm begging you to reconsider. Please do not. Sorry, I've just hit a
You're
blank.
okay.
I'm getting
You're
so
fine. You're
old.
okay. All right.
Please leave public input in place. It's hard enough to find when and where the meetings will be, much less to attend them without having this opportunity. So please leave this in. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Will you fill out one of those slips too, please, ma'am? Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to speak? Yes, sir.
I'll fill one out after too. My name is Greg Dondlinger, and I would just like to reiterate what these gentlemen had previously said. I was at that December meeting, and it felt like it was one-sided. Zephyr had an opportunity to present their position and their reasons for what they wanted to do. This room was pretty full. It was standing room only then, and we didn't get to say anything. And that was just a surprise to me. And the other comment about bundling these seems to make sense. The other two I'm fine with. C, I have an issue with. So I don't know why they were connected, but to the extent that those can be separated out, I would ask that you would reconsider 2C. Because I'd like to have an opportunity to come in here if there's something that affects our community, and just allow you to understand my position.
Okay.
Before you make a decision.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
There, if there's none on top there, there's some by the door. Oh, she took them all.
But there's only one of you.
Bogart just slips.
And then somebody else, I thought, well, no, she's bringing the slips back.
Hello, I was having a little problem hearing, and I saw...
Excuse me, Paula, will you state your name, please?
Paula Svinsek from Florence, 305 East 2nd Street. I was wondering, along with the 400 square feet, is there a minimum lot size that can that be put on? And I saw that there was an elimination of the 24 feet, and is there any setback at all? And that was it.
So as far as setbacks and lot development, that's per zone district, and none of that will be changing. So any zone district where a single-family dwelling can currently be placed at, this will be applicable to that.
Okay, so there is not a different lot size than is already stated. And the 24 feet that you mentioned was what?
That was the minimum width that's currently required, and we would be eliminating that. So there would be no required minimum width of 24 feet.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Someone else? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I also didn't sign up, and I wasn't, so I appreciate everything.
Ma'am, will you state your name to the
Sorry.
microphone, please? Thank
I
you.
am Nikki Bedell. I live in Fremont County. I live in the Tallahassee area. I appreciate what they said, and I support what our previous speakers said. My concern is with the CUPs and kicking them down the road. I think by definition, a conditional use permit, one of those conditions is the length of time. And I think a lot of us, although we're not happy with them, we thought there was a deadline. And for somebody to just fill out a one-liner and say, hey, we haven't done anything, but we'd like to keep moving, I don't agree with that, and I would like to see that be given far more consideration than just having it happen by kicking the can down the road. And I do think it is important to have these public hearings.
Okay. Thank you. There's some at the podium or there's some at the door. Okay, anyone else? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close this public hearing. Okay, commissioners.
One of the first things that I would like to say to address your concern, ma'am, was you said it's hard enough to find out when our meetings are and what the topics are, and I think we actually do a really good job of.
Those are always attached to a BOCC meeting.
Yeah. So every meeting that we have is well publicized. It's on our website. Our agendas are always posted in our building as well as in front of our building. We typically put them on Facebook as well as on our website. Things like public hearings always have to be publicly noticed, which means they're also in the newspaper according to law. So I just, if you're having a hard time understanding when we're holding meetings, I think we need to have that as an offline conversation because I don't understand that at all.
Not anymore. I'm not having any fun.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
I think I'd just like to mention too that I think Steve, you said that it was rushed. They are publicly noticed a certain amount of time. I don't know the days on that. 14 days. So it's not like it's pushed through overnight like some other things happen. So there is ample time for people to find out about them and show up. So them being rushed through it does not happen. I completely agree with everybody in transparency. I don't want to hide anything. So just want to lay that out there on the table.
Well, Mr. Chair, given the comments that we had this morning, I would make a motion that we table the amendments for the Fremont County zoning resolution, and let's visit about this a little bit more.
The motion needs to include a specific date if you're going to table.
Okay. 23rd. Okay, next meeting on 23rd of April.
9:30 a.m.
I'm sorry, what?
At 9:30 a.m.
Yes.
Yeah, just for clarification.
Yes.
I would second that.
Okay, so it has been moved and seconded to table the amendment till our next BOCC meeting, which is April 23rd at 9:30, which we will then take care of it under old business. We will set up a workshop to talk about all the comments that we've had today and talk about this more. Is there any other discussion?
I would like to make clear that when this does come back before us under old business, it's not a separate public hearing. So I just want you to know you're welcome to be here. You're welcome to listen to the conversation, but we will not be inviting folks to the microphone at that time.
Correct. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye. Okay, so with no further business before us, we are adjourned. Thank you, folks, for coming. Let's see. Paula. Nikki.
Jason Dawson. Susan. Up here.
Up to us.
I've heard that it's brutal down there these days with meetings.
It'll get all three of them. Actually,
What? If you can read them. There's two of them, and if you'll, he has the others except for Susan.
I looked up the woman I